Okay, so we're going to be going back and forth, and hopefully this time when we're in edit mode, you'll be able to see what we're editing.
Okay.
Okay, so once again, we welcome you. We're going to see if we add some more people to this, but welcome. This is part 2 on preparing statements to convince the committees to give you more money. As we remind everyone each time, would you please ask questions as we go? You're all unmuted, and we seem to have lost the echo. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Is that because you're not on speaker?
I don't think so.
You both can hear me, right, Bryce?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to real quick review. Scholarship committees seek to reward something. If you can't clearly see what they want to reward, avoid that. Have you noticed that as you're going through some of the FastWeb scholarships, that some of them that they say they're scholarships, but when you look at it, it's hard to tell what it is they're rewarding.
Yeah.
So you have seen that.
Uh-huh.
Okay. We're once again talking about 36 statements that you can use to fill in the fields for these questions that scholarships ask. And they ask these a lot, depending on what the scholarship is trying to reward. 6 steps to filling it out. We've identified 3 to 4 themes that describe you. And once again, Bryce, remind me of your 4 themes.
They were academics, athletics, character, and service.
That's right. And Miranda, yours?
Athletics, creativity, talent, leadership, and service.
Okay. So now that we've identified them, we then went through and identified 3 situations or places. Bryce, on the character, what were the top 3 character traits you decided on?
Oh, actually, I'm still kind of thinking about which one, but I have loyalty and work ethic right now.
Okay. I'm going to, Miranda, real quick, what would you say is another character trait of Bryce?
Is intelligence a character trait?
Intelligence can be a character trait, definitely. Any others you can think of? Friendliness, outgoing, honesty can be a character trait. Survivor, you can even take the survivor theme and make it into a trait. Okay, so we define the 3 situations, then we jot down specific examples of each application and they're very specific. And as you remember from last time, what happens when you don't get very specific and you stay with generalities?
You miss a lot of information.
Yeah, you miss a lot of information. What else?
It's not as cool.
It's not as cool, and it's harder, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When you're trying to think, for example, let's take work ethic for Bryce. If we were just thinking work ethic in general, how hard would that be to describe? But what happens, Bryce, when you think of a specific example where that work ethic benefited a company or organization?
It gives it more character.
It does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Last week we then turned them each into sentence. Last week we refined the sentence. We focused it on translating the jargon and going with the implied numbers. This time we're going to look at changing the person, the voice, and the upgraded vocabulary. Does that work for everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the example of how you do the theme, the 3 applications, and then the 3 specific examples, jotting the ideas down. So that's steps 1, 2, and 3. Then we went through last time and we started working with these. This time what I'm going to do is, rather than using these examples, we're going to put some up specifically for you too. And we're going to use yours and we're going to work on those. Is that okay? Okay, so What I'm going to do now is I'm switching out of this, and hopefully you've now seen a new slide, correct?
Mhm.
And you can see this time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Bryce, we're going to start with some of your statements, and just read me. We'll do 4 statements and where you have them right now, okay?
I didn't ever do the numbers, well, the thing we did last time, so they're still kind of broad.
Okay, we may then improve the numbers while we're at it. So let's go broad and we'll refine them.
Okay, so one of the sentences, it's in athletics, and the situation is soccer.
Okay.
And it is took third in the St. George tournament.
Took third, in the St. George tournament. Okay, give me another one.
We took fourth in region as a team.
Okay, give me another one.
And then the other one I had was playing varsity as a junior.
Okay. Let's do one more and we'll go from there. Is that okay?
Yeah, can it be in like a different situation?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it can be any example you've got. In fact, coming from different applications or themes would actually be good.
Yeah, I want to do, I was the fastest runner on pace in high school, cross-country team.
Is cross-country capitalized?
I think so.
Is it hyphenated?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so we're going to do this. Okay, so the next step we do is to take the implied numbers and turn them into real numbers. So let's look at this. Third is pretty good, isn't it? That's a real number.
Yeah.
Where's the implied number in here? Miranda, feel free to help.
How many teams there are in the tournament?
Good. How many teams? So took third place out of how many teams were in the tournament?
There were 8 teams.
Out of 8 teams in the St. George tournament. What other number could be implied?
How many days the tournament was?
How many days? So how many days was it?
It was a 3-day tournament.
Good. There's another thing when you're doing teams, and it may apply or it may not, and that would be we could insert how many states. I don't know if the 8 teams all were Utah teams. I'm assuming St. George, Utah, or were they from other states?
I think they were all from Utah.
Okay. So we're going to say took third place out of 8 teams in the St. George 3-day tournament. Okay, let's go with this one as the region. Now, this is going to be interesting, and this, by the way, applies to people who are doing vocal music. Anytime you do something like this, and I'll show you. Okay, so you took 4th in region. How many teams are in the region?
I don't know.
Can look it up.
Could you look it up?
Yeah, we will real quick.
Okay.
For you. Seven.
How many?
7, I believe.
Okay. And was this high school?
Yeah.
Okay. So it took fourth out of a region of 7. Now, another way you could do it is, was this in a double elimination, or was this based on standings?
Based on standings.
Okay, so what was your win-loss record?
I'd have to search it. I don't know.
And for that, I'm going to put in YY. So now we're saying took fourth place, I forgot place, with a win-loss record of YY out of a region of 7 high schools as a team. We're going to come back and change that later. Okay, so you played on the varsity football team, or the varsity team as a junior.
Yeah.
Now, here's where we're going to go. There were how many on the team?
On the whole team in general, or just the varsity team?
The varsity team.
Probably 15.
Okay, on the 15-person varsity team, right? As a junior, how many juniors were on the team?
I don't know that one.
Was it more juniors or more seniors?
I don't know. No idea.
You could look at who your teammates were, but I'm going to put YY again in here as a placeholder, right?
Okay.
Were there any sophomores on the team?
I'm sure there were, but not as many.
Okay, so what we would then say is I played on the 15-person varsity team as one of only this many juniors out of, and you may go in and say out of, say, 13, let me see, not out of, with 13 seniors. Now you'll fill in the blank, right?
Right.
So I'm going to put a YY there. Okay, does that help?
Yeah, it does.
Is there anything in any of these so far? We haven't been talking about jargon. Have we seen? Well, let's finish this last one. So fastest runner on the Payson High School team, how would you do that one?
How many kids are on the team?
Good. How many were there?
There were probably 20 kids.
Okay. Now, what other is an implied number on here?
How fast you ran.
Excellent. Fastest is an implied number, isn't it? What could we put in there to make it more specific?
Do you want the time that I ran?
Time would work. So what would it be?
17 minutes.
Okay. How would we word that? You come up with the wording.
Yes, that was runner with the time of 17.
Now, how do we compare that?
Compare with what?
See, that's just it. It stands there by itself with a time of 17 minutes. How do we put that in perspective?
We could say how much faster it was from the next kid down.
Excellent. So what would that be?
I would have to go look that one up.
You'd have to look it up, in which case we may change this by saying with the time that was 2 minutes faster than the second, right?
Right.
But we're then going to do this. We're going to change fastest to first place runner. Now how does it look?
Looks a lot better.
And all we've done is we've put in the numbers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've changed that. Do we see any jargon in here that needs to be changed?
Is region jargon?
Region may be jargon, but that's why we defined it by saying of 7 other high schools. In other words, we could take region out, right? And now how does it look?
Looks good.
Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put it in the person. We're going to edit the person, and in this case we've done it in third person, haven't we?
Yeah.
So instead of saying I a lot, we're saying took. If we needed to, you could say our team of, how many were on the soccer team?
17.
17 players took third place out of 8 teams in the St. George, Utah, right?
Right.
Utah, was it an invitational tournament?
I'm not sure.
Okay. If it were, you could put the word invitational. Or let's say it was a tournament you got to like the region. If you were only playing teams that had also taken their region, let's say like when if you went to a state tournament, you could put in all the teams that everyone had to beat to get there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've now put it in third person. We're also going to want to edit it for voice. Now, define for me the difference, both of you, between the active and the passive voice.
Ooh. I forgot it.
Okay, the active voice uses the verb is, was, have, and modifies a verb rather than using the verb directly. So the verb is the active word.
Okay.
So, for example, these we've done pretty good because as we were typing them, I kind of refined it. Our team of 17 players, we're going to put a comma there, right? Now, we could put the word placed third out of 8 teams in the St. George, Utah Invitational 3-day, and we're going to move 3-day forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the 3-day, no, we need to move tournament. So it's the 3-day St. George Invitational Tournament. Does that make sense?
Hopefully, yeah.
Once again, how would we change this next one? We're editing the voice. Took, is that a real strong word, or is that a passive word?
It's passive.
It's passive. So once again, what are we going to do on this? We're going to eliminate took, and what are we going to put in place of it? We're going to use place.
Oh.
because it's placed stronger than took.
Yeah.
So placed fourth. Now, we have this with a win-loss record of such and such. It's kind of a misplaced modifier, isn't it? So what we could do is we could move this to the front. Are you understanding what I'm doing here?
Sort of.
Okay, ask questions. So now it's saying with a win-loss record of XX, which will be a number, our high school soccer team placed fourth out of 7 other high schools, right? So we're going to move team from where we had it at the end because it kind of works better up here modifying high school soccer, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, how does that sentence sound?
Good.
Once again, when you combine these two sentences, and let's add this third one, which we're going to fix, when you look at those 3 things, are you beginning to build a good reason for them to give you the money?
Yeah.
So how are we going to change this one?
Could you completely switch order, saying as one of only blank shoes?
Very good. Excellent. So as one of only XX juniors in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Comma, played.
So you don't want to say I?
Yes, you could say I in this one. I played. So we're saying as one of this many juniors in high school, I played on the 15-person varsity team with this many seniors.
Mm-hmm.
And so now is it active or passive voice?
Active.
So we've got an active voice. How is the vocabulary? Have we got the vocabulary at a good level?
Yeah.
Anything that where you would change the vocabulary to make it sound a little more professional?
Maybe try and do more with the ending to end it more.
This part right here, right?
Yeah.
It kind of just hangs there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what could we do? You know, there's one thing. How old were you when you played this? Well, let's leave it with that.
Yeah, I was 17.
So maybe what we do is we say, we move that sentence up here as one of only blank blank juniors out of blank blank seniors
Yeah.
in our high school. How's that sound?
Much better.
And it's taken care of that ending, hasn't it?
Yep.
Okay, so let's go down to the next one. How would we modify this one? First of all, this that doesn't work, does it?
Yeah.
What would you put in the to replace it? We just take it out entirely?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we may change this and say, I ran What do you think of that?
Or you can start with running 2 minutes faster. I placed first on my high school.
Okay. So running 2 minutes faster than the second fastest runner on the Payson High School. Let me see, where would you put it?
I took running 2 minutes faster than the second fastest runner. I took first on the Payson High School cross country of 20 meters.
Now, let's do this. How many races did you do? Because we could say, I consistently placed first. What do you think?
I only placed first twice.
Okay, so we're going to take that out, right? I took the wrong thing out. So like this? Do you feel more comfortable with this? And once again, we're using just 4 of your 12 sports statements. So we could take these now and copy and paste them into that blank, couldn't we?
Yeah.
When they say describe your athletic abilities, would these be good statements to put in it, and then add some of your others?
Yeah.
Okay. Does this help, Bryce?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, let's go, and we're going to now do Miranda's. See, now the foot's on the other side, right? You get to help Miranda while she helped you.
Right.
So, Miranda, give me 4 of your statements. And once again, if they're from different themes, that works well.
Okay. So for athletics, the one with jargon, with only. Okay, this might just not.
Just read it as it is. That's why we're going to edit it.
With a team of 2, I took first in a state volleyball tournament. So that has jargon, so that's the workout.
Did you say state tournament, soccer, what kind, volleyball?
No, a stake, like.
Oh, stake. Okay, good, okay.
So we have some jargon.
Yeah, volleyball.
Yeah, and volleyball. And
Was it a tournament or was it a league?
a tournament.
Okay. Give us, is that all? Give us another one.
For athletics running, I just have 3 words that I'd have to figure out to do. So playing on soccer is a lot of running, and then I did the fun run in junior high.
Hold on. Read it to me, the sentence.
I did a 2-mile fun run in junior high. I ran for a mini triathlon, played soccer for 9 years, and then completed a BJ run.
Completed a what?
It's called a BJ run, but I'd probably have to define it more.
V as in Victor or varsity?
No, B as in
Like that?
boy. Yeah.
Okay. And then give us one from something other than sports, athletics. Could be service, could be leadership, could be creative.
I drew the design and carved the ukulele on the face of my ukulele. I did not carve a ukulele.
Okay, so you drew the design and carved it
On the
face of a ukulele. Is that how you spell it?
Ukulele.
Ukulele.
Yep.
Okay. So once again, first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the person. So with the team of 2, I took first place in a stake volleyball tournament. Oh, the jargon. That's right. We're going to do the jargon and implied numbers. So how many teams were competing?
2.
There were only 2 teams in the tournament?
Yeah. I think I'm just drawing it. Pulling his face on that one. But we may pull it off, but we'll take a look at it. We could say how many. It was a stake thing, so how many groups could have had teams? Oh, I think 5 or 6. 5.
So there are 5 or 6 units in your stake. Okay. This one we may drop entirely.
All right.
But we're going to I took first place in let me see, where are we going to put 2 persons? Was this 2-person volleyball?
No.
Or 2 teams?
It was 2 teams. The other team had 10 people, and we had 2. So we played 6 versus 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to modify this, aren't we?
Yeah.
Our team of 2 players, how many were you allowed to play at a time?
6.
Okay. Our team of 2 players defeated a team of how many?
They had 10 people there, but they could only play 6.
Of 10 players placed first, right?
Yeah.
In a community, we're going to call that instead of stake, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So our team of 2 players defeated a team of 10 players, and we're going to say only 6. Let me see. 6 of them were on the court at any time. Right?
Yeah.
And how many games was this tournament?
3.
3?
Yeah, we played 3 games.
Okay. Defeated a team in a community best of 3 games volleyball tournament. Now look at the statement, and what does it say?
2 players. Exactly what I said.
And how does that look?
I think it can be a little confusing.
So what could we do to decrease the confusion?
Can also just...
First, let's go to the concept. What made this now so impressive compared to when you first described it? And Bryce, help her out here.
You tell.
No, either one of you. I don't care. I just don't want Bryce feeling like he can't talk.
What was the question? Sorry.
When she first described it, it was she took first place out of 2 teams.
Yeah.
That's not very impressive, is it?
You could say defeating a team of 10 players, placing first in the community, and then best of 3 games. Is that, we could put that hyphenated for clarity?
Good. So we're going to take in the community, and we may even delete the community.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's try this. If we take this and we move it to the front, what did we just do?
Made it active.
Made it accurate. But
Okay.
what else? What else have we done?
Clarified it more. Made it active voice.
Made it active, clarified it. In fact, we can even drop this whole middle part, can't we?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me what makes that so impressive.
Fact that we had less players and no subs, so we had to play longer and harder.
Exactly. There were only 2 of you. They had 10. They could substitute. And this went on for how many games?
Mm-hmm.
What does that say about you as a volleyball player? That's to me, that's quite impressive, isn't it?
Me too.
Yeah.
And we didn't alter it. It's still honest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can it be misunderstood?
No. Maybe in the fact just that how do they fit 10 players on a court? And
So, do you want to put back in by having 6 at a time? We could say this. Team players, we could say 6 on the court with 4 subs.
yeah.
How's that?
That's better.
And it's interesting, what did that just do to the whole impressiveness of the statement?
Brought back the idea of how many more they had.
Exactly. This was a team that had 4 subs that they could keep rotating on and off the court, and there were just 2 of you taking on 6 at a time. I think that's pretty good.
Sweet.
Okay, ran a 2-mile fun run in junior high. There are all kinds of jargon and implied numbers in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, junior high, what could we change that for?
School program.
Was it in your junior high?
No.
That's what you were a junior high school student then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take out junior high and put how old you were.
I think I was 15.
Okay.
that too far back, though?
No. At 15 years old. Do we hyphenate that?
Oh, I never know.
Comma, I ran a 2-mile. Now, what's a fun run? Is that going to be jargon that needs to be understood?
It's mostly just is it to promote health?
I don't really.
I just call it a fun run to get us to think it will be fun.
Or a fun maybe?
It wasn't fun.
I don't know.
Right, but what I'm saying is fun run a universally known term, or is it jargon?
It's jargon. We could just say at 15 years old I ran a 2-mile course, placing in top 10 of my grade and gender.
Okay. So we're going to do community. How many participants were there in your age and gender?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so we're going to do a community race. We're going to move this up in front. I placed in the top 10 for my race, or not race, age and gender, right?
Yeah.
In a 2-mile, we're going to hyphenate that, right?
Yeah.
We're going to change this to as a 15-year-old. Now, if you can find out how many were in the race and it was impressive, for example, if you placed in the top 10 out of 20, it's not so impressive. If you were in the top 10 out of 60 or 100,
Yeah. I'll have to look that up.
okay, then what we may do in the top 10, and I'm just going to put a placeholder out of YY for my age and gender in a 2-mile community race. Is this helping at all?
Yeah.
Okay. On this one, what's a BJ run?
We consecutively run a mile perimeter soccer. We run a soccer perimeter, a football perimeter, and a bleacher mile with both bleachers.
Okay, so say that again. You broke up in the middle.
We do a soccer perimeter, a football perimeter, and a bleacher mile all at a time. It takes 30 minutes.
Soccer perimeter, bleacher, and what was the other one? There were 3.
A football perimeter. And I finished it in 34 minutes, which was about 4.5 minutes ahead of everyone else.
Okay, now I'm missing some numbers you gave me in there, so tell us where to fill them in. While you're doing that, yeah, go ahead.
Did you say a consecutive soccer, well, like the word? Because I didn't get to like stop in between each run.
Right, and you did one soccer perimeter, one football perimeter, and the bleacher?
Yeah.
Okay. Completed running a soccer perimeter. Do you know how big a soccer perimeter is?
A mile.
And the bleachers? How high?
How high do you think so?
Go and count it.
Okay. The number of steps?
Yeah.
Okay.
And how big is the football perimeter?
I think that was a mile too.
And you did it in how much time?
In, I can't remember if it's 32 minutes or 34 minutes, but 32 sounds better.
I'm going to put 32 minutes. Okay. Completed running a soccer perimeter 1 mile, bleachers so many steps, football perimeter 1 mile, non-stop. I want to move that. We're going to move that non-stop earlier. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Where would you put it? Right here?
Yeah.
And we're going to put semicolon there, right? How many people were running?
Oh wait. Ooh, there's a lot of people. I want to try. Let's say 40. Let me look real quick.
We need something to set off the non-stop, don't we?
Yeah.
We're going to call attention to it. Do you know the difference on how to set pieces apart? Do you remember that from English? These clauses? So you can set it apart with commas, with parentheses, or dashes.
Okay.
Dashes is the strongest. You don't want to overuse it.
Mm-hmm.
Parentheses are the weakest, and commas are the in-between.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to change this, okay, and we're going to put placed first out of 40 runners in a non-stop race, including 1 soccer perimeter, 1 set of bleachers, and 1
1 week, no? No, 1 set.
What do you think?
Looks good to me.
Read it out loud. Read it out loud, Miranda. Let's see how it sounds.
Placed first out of 40 runners in a non-stop race, including 1 soccer perimeter, 1 mile, 1 set of bleachers, steps, and 1 football perimeter, 1 mile, in 32 minutes, 4.5 minutes faster than any of the other competitors. That sounds great.
Let's do this. We've got the competitors in there twice. If we took this off and put here. Now read it and let me know what you think.
Place first, 4.5 minutes, then faster than 40 runners in a non-stop race, including 1 second. We say 4.5 minutes, then wait.
I'm still editing it. Let me know what you think. Now start oops. Sorry.
You're good.
Now start. That's
Yeah.
Bryce's. Now start reading it.
Place first, 4.5 minutes faster than 40 runners in a non-stop race. So we say like, then 4.5 minutes faster than 40 other runners.
Good. Actually, we can say competitors because we dropped it at the end.
Yeah.
What if we change the including to just of? What do you think?
Yeah.
Try reading it now.
Place first, 4.5 minutes faster than 40 competitors in a non-stop race of 1 soccer perimeter, 1 mile, 1 set of bleachers, steps, and a football perimeter. Okay.
Is everyone going to understand that?
Yeah.
A lot better than BJ run race, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've been trying to word that for years.
Good job. We've got one more. Are you both seeing how this will help you really convince the committees that you deserve this scholarship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this last one then. Okay, we're going to start this one with an I, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How are we going to change this jargon here? We're going to drop the drew, right?
Yeah.
I designed and carved what?
My design.
What was it that you did?
Like the process?
By the way, did you hand carve this?
Yeah.
No carbon.
I know it.
What was it you carved? It wasn't words?
Yeah, it was, well, there was words.
There was
I did a flower and some waves and then a couple scriptures.
Okay, what would you call all that together?
I don't know.
And you've done it only once, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do this. We don't want to use the word design twice, right? We have it here, and here it's a verb, and it's a really powerful verb. So what we're looking for is a noun to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you do that? We are looking for a synonym, right?
Yeah.
So we go over here, and we say, okay.
Oh my goodness, that's cool.
Say what?
I said that's cool. I didn't realize that before.
Yes. Now, part of the problem is we're having trouble. It's giving us all of this as a verb, not so we're going to change to illustration,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to the synonyms. There's design, drawing, diagram, photograph, photo, sketch, image, graphic. Which of those do you like best? Obviously, there are a few of them you're not going to do.
Yeah. Probably,
Illustration may be the strongest, huh?
yeah. I'd say do that.
Okay, now with this one, if you can, what would make this even more powerful? Adding a photo of what you did.
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to go over here, but we can say carved a complex illustration
Mm-hmm.
consisting of quotes, right?
Yeah.
Flowers and waves.
Yeah. You could say something just like how it's island or cultured.
Ah, excellent. A complex island illustration, right?
Yeah.
And then we could take all that out. We need the A out. Does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything else you would add? Is there any? This is technically our last session. I mentioned earlier that feel free to send me your statements that you've worked on. We are not meeting again next week. I thought I had put my email on here, so let me real quick do that. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And send them to me, and I'll take a look at them and continue to edit them.
Cool.
Anything else? Was the whole series? How did you feel about the whole series?
I liked how interactive it is.
What did it give you? Do you feel comfortable that you can now start filling out those applications once you finish this?
Yeah. My question is with like essays and stuff. Do you just have to write that as they come, or is there an easy way to?
Tell you what. What if we add another section to this? Would you guys be willing to come back next week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about if next week we deal with the whole concept of essays and letters of recommendation?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Would that be good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so join us next Monday, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard, and we'll cover reusable essays that you can use over and over and over, and letters of recommendation.
Sweet.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.